said I oppose fracking. Show the tape. Put it on your website. Put it on the website.
Live from Clark Studios in Rochester, New York. Broadcasting around the world. You're listening to You Made It Political, where the voice of the keyboard warrior is finally heard and the arguments presented are put to the political test. And now, here's your host, Matt Clark.
California taking lockdown measures to a whole new level with a stay-at-home order that starts tomorrow. What does this mean for the state of California? Well, that means that all Thanksgiving dinners are off the table next week for any size. It does not matter. Is New York State next? We'll find out. There's also a new squad in town, and it's not the squad that you're thinking. It's a squad called Freedom Force, and they're out to attack the socialist agenda by the likes of AOC and the rest of her liberal squad. All this now on You Made It Political. It's Super Saturday, baby. Welcome to the show. We start today's show with Los Angeles and the craziness that is going on in the state of California. Here's what's going on. Los Angeles could lock down as soon as Sunday following a record high number of coronavirus infections on Thursday, a country health official said. Now, what is this new lockdown measure? This is a stay-at-home order. This means that you are literally locked in your homes and you are not leaving for any reason whatsoever unless you need to conduct an essential activity. Why have they done this? Why have they done this all of a sudden in California? Why is it getting so out of control now? It's because LA has recorded 5,031 new cases on Thursday. Now, here's the deal in California. If cases average over 4,500 for 5 consecutive days, the county, the Los Angeles County, will issue a safer at home. This is what we're calling it. We're not calling it a lockdown in your home prison order. We're calling it a safer at home order. First of all, how ridiculous is that? I mean, what do you take us for? We know what this means. It means you're not allowed to come out of your home because Governor Newsom said so. Why do I care sitting here in New York? Well, it seems that Newsom and Cuomo follow the same liberal lockdown agenda. It seems that whatever California does, New York State is closely behind, followed by the rest of the Democratic governor-run states. So it's very nervous, and it's a very nerve-wracking situation to see what the other Democratic-run states are doing, because you better believe that New York is up next. Very scary. So this safer at home order business, okay, they already have a curfew. It's a 10 p.m. curfew. All right. California has a task force now to fine residents for mask violations. So it's going all cuckoo over there. I'm not sure exactly why they continue to push the California residents so hard. I mean, just a month ago, you had Governor Newsom on national television begging California residents to not leave the state. There is such a mass exodus right now of whether it's Democrat or Republicans. There's a mass exodus of these residents leaving the state. And when people leave the state like this on such a mass scale, what gets hurt? Taxes. The state starts to lose money. California is on its way to bankruptcy, just like New York State. If anything, you should be trying to please your residents, not piss them off even more. But the Democratic governors don't seem to get this philosophy, and they keep coming out with these draconian measures to upset their constituents even further. So, why am I so annoyed over the fact that we keep talking about coronavirus cases? Why do we keep obsessing over these cases? Where does it lead to? What is the point of us constantly reporting on coronavirus cases? We don't report this heavily on any other virus in the world. We haven't in the past during other pandemics, but it seems that Americans are obsessed with knowing the COVID case count on a daily basis. I mean, it is being rammed down our throats. Is it because the media has scared the hell out of the people? What is the reason here that we continue to obsess over this count? What do we do with these numbers? Nothing. It's not like the death count is going up, because it's not. The death count continues to decline, if anything. Have we not learned anything from the last lockdown data? And I'm going to present the data right now, but let me tell you this. The likes of Governor Cuomo keep screaming at New York residents, follow the data, follow the science. I mean, last week he was literally screaming at reporters, losing his mind, which is not surprising because he's getting serious backlash right now from the residents of New York State, just like most Democratic governors are getting throughout the country. So follow the data, follow the science, they keep saying, right? Well, here's the data, governors. Here's the data. The data is that in California, a population size of 39.5 million people, there have only been 18,299 deaths. That's a 0.04% death count. 0.04% death count, okay? So let's take a look at New York Store. Remember, California, percentage of deaths to the population, 0.04. New York State, very strict, one of the strictest states in the United States for lockdown measures. 19.5 million people across the state, 33,693 deaths. We have the most deaths, coronavirus deaths, in the entire country, and we have the strictest lockdown measures. What does that tell you? And the percentage of death rate is 0.17%. 2 times higher than a state like Florida, who has had 0 lockdown measures. Florida has been against it. They have said we are not locking down. So you'd think that Florida would have skyrocket cases of coronavirus, at least deaths. Again, I don't really care about the cases as much as I do care about the death toll, because at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. How many people are dying from this thing? Is it worth locking down the entire country? Is it worth shutting down the economy, destroying America? I don't think so. And the numbers say it. Let's take a look at Florida. 21.5 million people in California. 25.5 billion people and only 17,644 deaths. That's a 0.08% death count. 0.08%. New York State, 0.17% death rate. Florida, 0.08. So there are more than 2 times the deaths in New York State. That has locked us down, destroyed the economy, bankrupted the state, taken jobs, prevented people from earning an income, preventing loved ones from seeing each other. This will be the last Thanksgiving for many elderly. We still can't go see them in nursing homes unless we get that stupid cotton swab jammed up our nose on a daily basis. All for what? All for what? Lockdowns aren't working. We have the proof. The data, if we follow the data, makes it very clear it does not work. Sweden, let's take a look at Sweden. Let's take a look at our friends across the pond over in Europe. Sweden, who we all know, has not locked down or even practiced social distancing at all. Not a single bit, okay? Nothing. They have continued to live their lives. They are adamant on it. What's going on in Sweden? You'd think they would be the sickest country on earth. Nope. 10 million people in Sweden, only 6,406 deaths. 0.06%. And I say only, not to undermine that no death is important, because every single death is life has value. Yes, I get that. But we can't sit here and play the one death is too many, just one is too many, because we haven't been playing that card for the flu or for AIDS or for any other worldwide pandemic that's hit over the last 50 years. We haven't played that card, so why are we paying it now? So Sweden, 10 million people, 6,400 deaths, 0.06% death rate. It has the lowest death rate out of all three states that I've just mentioned. California, 0.04%. New York State, 0.17%. Florida, 0.08%. No lockdown. Sweden, 0.06%. No lockdown. Why? Why is Sweden doing so well? I'll tell you why. Why are we so scared in the United States and now over in the United Kingdom? Because we see a lot of the same trend following over in the UK. They kind of seem to be taking the United States' lead, or maybe we're taking their lead. Either way, we're following each other in this conquest for lockdowns. Why do America and UK can't get a grip on this? Why are we locking down and still dying? I'll tell you why. Health. Health is the number one reason here. China, 2-month lockdown, in and out, done. Why? Because the Chinese are healthy. Americans, not healthy. Brits, not healthy. The Swedes are very healthy. They live a good quality of life. They take care of themselves. And look I have friends in China. I have family in China. I have friends in China. I have family in Thailand. I have friends from my 15 years abroad, living all over the world. I have friends in many different countries. And from what I've gathered, in countries like Thailand, Indonesia, China, most of Asia, you're going to see a very low death count, and you're going to see basically no social distancing, no mask wearing at all. They got over it quickly. Why? We're nearly a year here, and we can't seem to nip this in the bud. How come? It comes down to health. We don't take care of ourselves in the United States and in the UK. We don't take care of the roots of the problem. So yes, coronavirus is going to destroy a lot more immune compromised people, but we have so many more immune compromised people. And it's not because we're American, it's because we don't take care of ourselves. That is why there is such an issue in these Western countries versus the likes of Asia, where they got over coronavirus in 2 seconds, and none of them right now are masking up, locking down, or practicing social distance. Let's head over to the comment cams and we'll see what American people have to say about the lockdown measures here in Los Angeles County. Remember, Los Angeles could issue a stay-at-home order by Sunday. Let's see what they have to say. Shauna says, all they talk about is cases. How many of those have minor symptoms, if any? We need to take care of the vulnerable, but the rest of the world needs to get back to real life. If you are afraid of getting sick, stay home or away, but quit making everyone responsible for everyone's health. I couldn't agree with Shauna more, and this is what I was just talking about a minute ago, that it's up to us to take care of our health. I will not, or I will at least try my damn best to make sure I don't become immune compromised, whatever that even means anymore, to make sure that if coronavirus attacks certain types of profiles, that I don't become that profile in the first place. Maybe this is an opportunity to say, hey, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't be as sick as we are as a country. Maybe we need to start taking a look at the root of the problem. And those who don't want to participate in that, stay home, lock your doors, be a hermit for the rest of your life. But those who do want to practice a healthy lifestyle and who want to get on with their lives, now is the time. And soon we're not going to be asking. We're just going to be done with this because it's already started across the United States. There's a lot of very upset people right now who are doing their best to take care of themselves, and now they are being penalized for the horrific health habits by many of their fellow Americans. Knowledge King says, no one ever talks about the permanent disabilities that are caused by COVID-19, both the ones that we know of and the ones we don't. They include organ failure, scarred lungs, and diminished brain capacity. How can anyone downplay this virus? And there's a point that I wanted to read this comment to you. Okay, obviously it's not my favorite comment, but I don't want to be too biased here. I'm trying to paint the full picture and talk about what all Americans have to say, not just the comments that I personally like. So I really like this comment because, first of all, he's right. Coronavirus, from what I hear, does have some pretty serious effects. It might not kill a lot of people, but it does take its toll in a very chronic form. But here's the thing. At some point, we're going to have to, and again, it goes back to solving the root of the problem, we're going to have to take care of ourselves better so that diseases like COVID don't impact our bodies and don't create such a chronic effect. And also, here's the thing. Coronavirus is here to stay. Okay, we have to learn to live with it. Even when a vaccine does come out, polls have already said that only 1 out of 3 Americans say they're even going to get the vaccine. So what are you guys going to do? You're going to keep playing the chronic card or the lockdown card for the rest of your lives? Yes, it's very unfortunate that this disease takes such a hold on people, that it causes chronic conditions. But again, maybe if you lived a healthier life, these conditions wouldn't be as chronic as they're being reported by the media and the health organizations. Not everybody's going to want that vaccine. What are you going to do? They have a right to go on with their lives. It's unconstitutional to ram an injection down people's throats if they do not want it. So you're going to have to start thinking of a different excuse soon, because all of these aren't going to work when we have a vaccine and we're done with living in fear. Let's take a look at what Barbara has to say. Even as challenging as my job has been lately, I'm grateful. I'm an essential worker. I can't imagine how some people who can't pay the bills, much less eat, because they are on lockdown. Sorry, our government is not taking care of you at all. Pitiful. Very good point, Barbara. When is the government going to start taking care of everybody who they are demanding locked down? Florida, no need to take care of anybody because they're letting everyone live a perfectly normal life. New York, where's the income? You supplement my income, I'll sit at home and binge watch Netflix all day for all I care. But you got to pay me to do it. If you don't pay me as an entrepreneur, as somebody who is responsible for my own income, something's got to give here. You cannot tell me to stay at home and not give me what I'm used to making because you've now taken that earning potential away from me. Entrepreneurs, business owners, self-employed make up 50% of the country's employee count. That's a lot of people that you're messing with right now. You put these self-employed business entrepreneurs out of business, you're going to put half of America out of business. So you either give everybody an income while we obey your lockdown measures, or you let us get back to work and get on with our lives. Not all of us are doctors. Not all of us are teachers who are getting paid even though we're barely even teaching. Not all of us are going to be able to get furloughed and then guaranteed a paycheck when we get to return. Not all of us can even collect unemployment. As an entrepreneur, I can't collect on unemployment. There's no way, because I have to have a stable paycheck according to the government. So when coronavirus hit and we got locked down and my paycheck got cut to practically nothing, I didn't sit there and ask for a handout because I wasn't owed a handout. Yet I have friends who made more money on unemployment. They made more money sitting at home collecting an income plus COVID bonus pay. So why would they want to go back to work? It makes perfectly good sense as to why people would want to sit at home, do nothing, because they're getting paid an income plus bonus pay, and they're making more money hiding from Rona than they are going back to work. So it's no wonder that half the country still wants to sit here and play the lockdown card, because they know they're going to go right back on unemployment and they're going to get paid more. That does no good for the people who actually are responsible for growing this economy. The entrepreneurs, the self-employed. We're screwed. And so is America if we don't lift these lockdowns fast. So enjoy your unemployment checks, because those, when the country goes bankrupt and there are no more to give, who are we going to go to then? Let's go down to Brenda. Brenda says, here's an idea on the lockdowns. Close the major corporations, Walmart, Target, Publix, etc. Let the mom and pop shops stay open. That's the ones who are suffering the most. They are. And I brought this up in my last live. Why is Walmart even still open? Why is Target still open? I posted on my personal feed a couple days ago. Churches in New York City, a church that seats 1,200 people is only allowed to have 10. How does that make any sense at all? How is a church that seats 1,200 people only allowed to have 10 people when Target can have hundreds of people walk in and out all day long? And trust me, those little stupid 6 feet away from each other social distancing signs on the floor that we all walk over and don't pay attention to anymore, no one's following them. But we're allowed to go shop at Target. We're allowed to keep every 5,000 grocery store open within a mile radius, even though we only need 1 or 2. But the church has to remain closed. The Catholic Church, the Catholic dioceses in Brooklyn and the Bronx just took Governor Cuomo to the Supreme Court because they have had enough. They're fed up. It makes no sense. So I think we're going to start to see more establishments stand up and say, wait a second, if Walmart can be open, I can be open. We've had enough here. And that's absolutely true. Every single store in your town does not have to be open at the same time. It's not fair. And businesses, small businesses, they're going to go out and they're never going to come back. Never. And we're going to be held hostage to the big box stores for the rest of our life. Christina says, not infections, positive diagnosis. The virus is not going away. Lockdowns do more harm than good. And this is what I was just talking about. This virus is not going away. Rona's going to get you. Okay? Even when you get the vaccine, how many of you have had a vaccine and still got the flu? It's here to stay. And the vaccine is not going to be 100% foolproof. So what's going to happen when everybody starts getting sick again after we get the vaccine? You're going to start locking down everybody again with a vaccine? When is this nonsense going to end? Let's scroll down to Dottie. Stop getting tested. One day you're positive, next day negative. It means nothing. You can come up positive for a lot of things. This is all about controlling the American people. And I started the show with, why are we still testing? Why are we making our kids in schools test every other day? For what? The only thing that all this positive testing should do is say, we don't need a lockdown because look, the death count's not going up. But it's doing exactly the opposite. Cases go up. We have stricter lockdown measures. What is the point of that? If deaths go up, fair game. Okay, my neighbors start dropping dead in front of me. Okay, I'm worried. 25-year-olds who are completely healthy stop dropping dead around America. We got a problem. But right now, the only problem is that those who are dying from coronavirus are the elderly, immune compromised, who are days away from a flu getting a hold of them anyway. Coronavirus is just the nail in the coffin that was eventually coming, regardless of what disease they caught next. That's all that the data and science proves. So why do we keep testing? Let's just focus on the death count and stop worrying about how many cases there are, because the media is using it to continue their quest of fear-mongering the country into what's starting to look like, and will become very soon if we don't nip it in the bud, is a socialist economy. We got one more and then we'll take a commercial break. We're going to scroll down to Raj. Raj says the only way to stop the spread is mask up, social distance, avoid large gatherings, exercise proper hygiene, meaning wash your hands with soap and hot water for at least 20 seconds. Thank you, Raj. I'm glad you clarified how long we need to wash our hands for. Stay home if you are coughing or sneezing or have a fever. Keep ill children home from school. It is simple, common sense. Raj, yes, it's common sense to take care of yourself so you don't ever get sick. The lockdown is not common sense. And as you can see here, Raj, we've already very clearly showed you the data that lockdowns aren't working. I agree with Raj. Wash your hands. If you could stay home, stay home. If you can't, get on with your life. Coming up, there might be a new squad in town, and this time it is composed of Republicans. Look out, AOC, because the Freedom Force is coming after your social agenda right after we return from this commercial break.
Welcome back to You Made It Political, where the voice of the keyboard warrior is finally heard, and the arguments presented are put to the political test. And now, here's your host, Matt Clark.
Welcome back to the show. For those of you who missed the first half, we spoke a lot about lockdown measures not working. We showed you the data, the same data that governors keep telling us to follow. Well, we're following it, and it's certainly not working. Lockdowns don't work. It's very simple. You know, President Trump has been trying to tell us this entire time, it doesn't work. We're not locking down this nation. And you know what's interesting is that now President-elect Joe Biden is saying the same thing. I don't know who's gotten in his ear, but it's certainly working. Biden will not be locking this country down. But you know what the scary part is? The scary thing is that governors don't seem to care what our presidents want. If there's anything I learned over the last 4 years is that our presidents barely have any control whatsoever over the state. The state governors have full authority to make those shots, but we're realizing right now that it might not be as constitutional as they think it is, and a lot of these governors are getting taken to the Supreme Court as we speak for a misuse of their power. We're going to head over now to our next topic, and it's Freedom Force. How awesome is this? I personally am sick of the far left squad. I don't know about you guys, but AOC and Omar and the rest of them are driving me freaking crazy. They've been uncontested until now. Freedom Force has joined the party, and we're going to see what they have to say. All right, there might be a new squad in town, and it's time. And this time, it'll be composed of Republicans. Who's leading the charge here? Congresswomen-elect starting Freedom Force as counterweight to Dems squad. This is perfect. It's beautiful. I'm going to take you guys over to the article and kind of fill you in a little bit about what is this Freedom Force? Why have they started, and why do they or these ladies deserve to be a part of this Freedom Force? All right, so we have who's leading the charge here. U.S. House candidate Maria Salazar. She's leading up the charge on Freedom Force, Republican down in Florida. Let's see what she has to say. I was born in Miami, a community built by survivors. Absolutely. My parents fled Castro's socialist nightmare. We can't just let the socialist left destroy the American dream for our children. Join the Freedom Force and fight back today. This is awesome. I can't wait to see the memes for this. I can't wait to see these Republican women all dressed up in their superhero capes. And on this topic, I want to let you guys know. I want to say something real quick. I am so proud of the women who have risen to Congress, who have risen to the Senate. These young breath of fresh air, modern day women are stepping up to the challenge. And you better believe I'm a lot more worried about them than I am any president, because these women seem to get a lot done. They seem to get a lot done. I'm very excited for these women. So let's learn a little bit more about Freedom Force here and why they feel like they deserve to be running the show. The idea of a conservative squad seems like a possibility as New York Republican, okay, Maliotakis expressed interest in. Now, we have both a Republican congresswoman in Florida joined by New York Republican Nicole Maliotakis, who did defeat Republican Max Rose this cycle. She wants to also be a part of this Freedom Force. Why? Well, New York City, and she's absolutely right, needs a two-party system. We need someone who is going to be a counterbalance to AOC. Okay, and AOC and Maliotakis has also said she is as experienced. She has experience living under socialism. She knows what socialism feels like. Salazar knows what socialism looks like. Her parents fled Castro. So you have ladies now, these congresswomen rising up saying, we know what socialism looks like. We know that what America is going through right now is headed towards a socialistic agenda. So these women have seen it. Their parents have seen it. This is not an over-exaggerated thought process. Socialism ruins countries. Socialism causes bankruptcy in countries. I have lived in communist countries. I have lived in socialist countries. Wonderful countries. I've lived in China, pure communism. Not a country I'd want to raise my family in. I've lived in the UK, socialized medicine. The NHS is going broke. It doesn't work. They have had to slam their border shut. They've had to leave the European Union because they can't afford to continue with their socialistic policies. Americans are not good with kind of taking a look at what the rest of the world does. We're kind of held here in our little bubble, and we don't want to see what goes on in the rest of the world. Well, guys, if you open up your eyes to what other socialistic countries have gone through, you'll see very quickly that America is headed down that route. Look at what's happened to countries like the UK, who have tried to give free handouts. You've got immigrants coming in by the tens of millions on a yearly basis, scamming the system. It's going to happen, and it will happen here right in America. You start giving free healthcare to all, what's going to happen? We're going to have Mexico trying to get even more. Okay? If you didn't think they were trying to get in illegally before, watch what happens when they get free healthcare. They are going to bankrupt our country before our eyes, and the only ones who are going to suffer from it more are Americans. Socialism is not good for the country. I grew up in a socialistic country, the Socialist Republic of Ukraine. I saw what happens when it runs out of money and is not pretty. Okay, so these women, they see what's happening right now. They see that what socialism looks like, and they're stepping up, they're rising against the far left, and we're now going to finally have our own Republican squad, the Freedom Force. I think it's a great thing. You know what's funny is that Omar, here's what's funny. Let me show you this real quick, because you know, here the squad has gone uncontested for so long right now, and they've had no challengers. They've got to do whatever they want. They're even telling Joe Biden what the agenda should be. Okay? Members of the old squad have already criticized the would-be alternative among Americans. And here's what Omar had to say about this, and this is funny. I mean, it sounds ridiculous to me. I think they think they're in high school. We're in Congress. No, they don't think they're in high school. They think that you guys have had a little bit too much say with the direction this country is headed. And if you remember, Omar, there are two parties here, a Democratic Party and a Republican Party. You've had too much say because you've gone uncontested this entire time. But the Republican women have had enough. They're standing up. They're coming up with their own Freedom Force. Let's head over to the keyboard warrior cam and see what the American people have had to say about Freedom Force now going up against AOC and her squad. Lindy says the Freedom Force will be backed by strong, ethical, conservative leadership, a great force to deal with the immoral, evil, left-leaning Democratic Party members who want to destroy our country. Patriots can work together to win the country back. You want to go far left, AOC? Well, you better believe that these women are going to come right back at you and fight to keep America on track the way that they believe it should be. It's a very good comment, Lindy. Absolutely right. Let's scroll down here. We'll take a look at our next comment. Gilbert, please be true. Those Dem ladies are radical in their ideas, fundamentally trying to change our beautiful country to something we have never been and never will be. Keep the faith and pray for the Lord is with us. Listen, I wrote this morning on my personal feed, I said, I don't think a far right agenda is good for America, and I don't think a far left agenda is good for America. We need to meet in the middle. We need to have common ground. But when you have the likes of AOC, Omar, and the rest of the squad constantly push this socialist agenda, unfortunately, you're going to have a far right program or agenda or a team come attack back. Maybe that's the competition that we need to finally meet in the middle here. Nobody wants more of a far left agenda or a far right agenda than me. But if the girls keep pushing it, we need Freedom Force to now come back and combat that. Who knows where it's going to end up? We'll see, especially after the January 5th elections in Georgia. We keep the Senate. We keep control. The left take the Senate. We're going to see a very far left agenda. So it's no surprise that Freedom Force is stacking their team right now to get ready. Either way, if we don't keep Georgia, Freedom Force is going to take matters into their own hands. We'll scroll down right now. Amanda, what does Amanda have to say about Freedom Force, the congresswomen who are coming together to combat AOC and their socialist agenda? Amanda says, make sure they cuss, insult the other side while crying for unity, fling and flare their arms while pitching a fit, only use yes and no questions so the other side can't explain the answer, whine as they speak, promise to pay off everyone's college debt. Obviously, Amanda's being sarcastic, but this is the problem that we see with the left. There is a lot of emotion involved here, a lot of irrationality being put into their strategies. Paying off everybody's debt? What are they talking about? How on earth is it a responsible thing for America to start waiving every single student's debt? I sweat blood and tears over paying off my debt, over my college loan. I made sacrifices, but it taught me to work hard. It taught me that no matter what, we honor our debts. We make our payments because it's good for the economy. And now we have the left coming in and saying, you know what? The hell with the debt. Let's just throw it out the window. We'll pay everybody's debt off. As if the millennials aren't spoiled enough. As if they already don't have the work ethic in the world. This is only going to make it worse for us. It's going to teach our youth it's okay to abandon your debts. It's okay to take out loans and then not on your promises. It's okay to sit on your ass and do nothing for the next 5 years because you can't find a job. Because don't worry, Biden and the left are going to take care of your student debt. How is that teaching America work ethic? How is it teaching the country that we need to work hard? Just like our grandparents did, just like our parents did, that we need to continue to work hard to keep this country going, to keep the economy going. I don't want a handout. Keep your handout. That's what socialist country do. They give you socialistic crack, they make you addicted to it, and then they tell you what to do. I'd rather be responsible for my own income, work my ass off, create a better life for my family, and be able to control that life so that nobody can take it away from me in the future. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. You've been watching You Made It Political on Super Saturday. This has been an action-packed day of lockdowns and Freedom Force, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you want to be a guest on the show, email guest@youmadeitpolitical.com. I'd love to have you on. We're going to start taking guests soon. Email guest@ youmadeitpolitical.com. I'd love to have you on the show. After all, show is all about you, the American people, what you have to say about the direction this country is headed and the direction you want to see it going. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great rest of the weekend. We'll see you next Tuesday at 12 p.m. here on You Made It Political. Have a good day.
Thanks for listening to You Made It Political with Matt Clark. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the show, or leave us a review on iTunes. And if you like our show or want to know more, check out youmadeitpolitical.com.